So today I'm going to be doing an experiment in The Sims 1. I'm going to see if it's feasible to homeschool your sim child by proxy. In The Sims 1, there's only one options for school in the base game. Obviously, you can pretty much accomplish anything you want to if you have, downloads or custom content. But in The Sims 1, the only option for school is just regular public school. Then in Sims 2, you have public or private school. And then don't ask me about the Sims 3 or 4, they're not my forte, but for Sims 1, yeah, there's only the one option, which is public school. But I was wondering, is it possible to do homeschool by proxy? Because your Sims can study at home, and that does raise your grade, so I'm going to see if it's feasible to do homeschooling long term, which is going to be a little difficult because the Sim children are kind of like Sim adults. If they're in a good mood when the bus gets there, they'll go to school unprompted. But if they're in a bad mood, you have to tell them to go to school, kind of like the parents, with the work carpool goes the same way. If they're in a good mood, they'll go unprompted. If they're in a bad mood, you have to tell them to go. So I'm going to have to keep her consistently in a good mood, because if they're in a bad mood, they won't study when you tell them to study. So I'm going to have to manually delete the go to school option from her queue. So what I'll do is I'll save this game for the duration of the experiment. I'll save this game every sim day at 7 a.m. right before, or 7 a.m. in the game, right before the school bus comes. So that way, if she does get on the bus against me telling her to do so, that way I can just exit the game and start again. And then I'll record her grade every sim day at 3 p.m. every sim day. And then I'll just keep this going until I've determined whether or not it's possible to homeschool a sim child. Either that or until my experiment fails. Because what failure would mean for this experiment is, in The Sims, if they're very extreme with what happens if your sim child gets an F. There's no second chances. If a sim child gets an F in school, they just go to military school, and that they're basically just not in your game anymore, because once they go to military school, they never return. Alright, well, I'll be back for part 2 with the results of my experiment.